Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. Well, we're about 7 days away from the election, a little more than that, I guess, 8 days away from the election. A very, very, very important election this year. If you are going to vote Democrat because you've always voted Democrat, understand something. The Democrat Party of today is not the Democrat Party that you grew up with or that you knew. The Democrat Party of today is hooked up with the global socialist movement run by big tech, all these big corporations worldwide that have no loyalty to the flag. They have a loyalty to the almighty dollar. That's all. They're making money in all of these countries. Now, if they are successful and achieving their objective of a socialist / communist country, basically it's communist is what they're after now, then the definition of the communist government is you send us your money and we'll tell you how to live. We'll tell you where to live. We'll tell you where to work. We'll tell you how much you're going to make. And at the same time, we're going to give you free health care and free education. Well, how is it free? How is it free? They're taking every bit of your money to pay for it. It's not free. But the problem with their system is that eventually you run out of other people's money. You better understand something. This Democrat Party today is a communist movement, and it's not put on by the American citizens. It's put on by the global movement. You got to understand this. If you're thinking about voting Democrat this coming election next week, you are actually voting for the downfall of our republic. Your children and grandchildren will never know the world that you grew up in, a world of free liberty. Proof of this is that they want to take away your guns so you don't have the ability to defend yourself. But then again, they want to defund the police department. They want to take away the police. They want to send social workers out instead of police. There's a problem with this, folks. If you don't have a police department to protect you, and they take away your guns to defend yourself, this is what the framers were originally intended when they wrote the documents of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Why did they put your Second Amendment in there? Your rights to bear arms. It was not to protect you from your neighbor. It was put in there to protect you from a tyrannical government. Folks, that's what we have now, is a tyrannical government. And there is no equal justice under the law in their system anymore. If you're an African American, you have yourself a nice home and a nice car, and your children are going to nice schools and they're dressed nice. And you better understand something. There's a lot of your people that have been left behind. And these big cities have been turned into killing fields. They're slaughtering your people. They're slaughtering the African American people. And how are they doing that? Well, they opened up the border. They let all these people come in there. Now, I don't have a problem with the South American people coming into the country. But they got to come in legally. The reason why I don't have a problem with them is because these are good Christian people. And the Democrat Party in charge has made a big miscalculation. They believe that if you let these people in this country and allow them to live here illegally and give them a right to vote, that they're going to vote Democrat. They're not. They're not. They're not going to come here and leave a country where they couldn't exist anymore because it was a communist socialist country and they had no rights and no ability to make a living, and come all the way over here and travel on foot thousands of miles to come here for a better life for themselves and their children, and then go into the voting booth and vote for the same kind of government they left? Why would they do that? They're not going to. The Democrat Party has made a big miscalculation on this. So the Hispanic vote is not going to go for the Democrat Party. And they're using this, everything is Trump, 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 Trump did this, Trump did that. Well, you better understand something, and all this good stuff that Donald Trump did. He gave us energy independence. He was pumping money into the inner cities and stopping the crime. And he put Ben Carson in there, a brilliant brain surgeon. He put him in there for an initiative to get the economy growing in these cities. So what they did was the Democrats, and if you notice, it's only the Democrat-run cities. They have allowed the economy to be destroyed. They burned down the cities. They burned them down. They looted. They allowed Antifa and Black Lives Matter, which are basically funded by these communist organizations and that piece of shit, George Soros. They're funded by these organizations to come in here and destroy the country. So the cities, the economy has been destroyed. And then what do? They allow that when these citizens, these people are coming in over the border, the drug cartels are in charge of the border, and they're allowing these drugs to come in, like fentanyl, to come into these inner cities. They're not pumping into my cities. They're pumping into the cities like Chicago, Baltimore, Los Angeles, like that. And what they did was, after they destroyed the civil economy, they created the underground economy. Because a lot of people that want to live, they want to survive, they can't find jobs because they destroyed the economy. They say, well, let me sell some drugs. They think that's an easy way out for them. Sometimes it's the only way out for them. So basically you have these drug wars going on. These drug dealers have set up business inside these cities. And you have these drug wars going on for turf wars of who's going to sell the most drugs. And that people are being killed, innocent people, children being shot. You know, over 2,800 African Americans, over 2,800 have been killed last year in these cities. I think that number I think just came from Chicago alone. But thousands of them every weekend there's hundreds of people being shot. You can't get baby formula. The truckers can't afford to drive their trucks because of the energy independence. So a lot of them have left the business. Independent truckers have left the business and went someplace where they can actually make money because they don't want to pay $1,000 every time they have to fill up their truck. Where's the margin of profit? They're allowing the farms to be sold to the Chinese. Thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of farmland being sold to the Chinese. The farmers can't get the fertilizer that they need to grow the crops. So they say, well, we don't know why there's a food shortage. Well, figure it out. Why is there a food shortage? Because even if they grow the food, they can't get a truck to put it on to get it to the market. And if they do, the price of the food is going to be so high in the supermarket that nobody can afford to buy it. This is not an accident, folks. This is not an accident. They're intentionally trying to bring down our republic. And in order to do that, in order to change our way of government, they have to do two things. They have to get rid of that pesky Constitution that keeps getting in their way, in the Bill of Rights that keeps getting in their way, and they have to remove God. So there's a big anti-Christian movement going on in the country, an anti-religious movement going on in the country. And their big issue is abortion. That in this election, if you notice, everything's abortion, abortion, abortion. So they want to go around, they want to say that during the pandemic, that the idea of locking your children down and wearing masks and taking the inoculations and forcing your children to get inoculated is to save lives. But in the same respect, they want to kill thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent children inside the womb. Look, folks, you better get this right. You know, originally, when the abortion was by the Supreme Court said Roe versus Wade, and they said everybody has a right to abortion. And then now the Supreme Court said that they didn't have the right to make that decision. They did not take away your rights to abortion. The Supreme Court did not do that. What they said was they had no right to make that decision. It's a state's issue. So the states can decide for themselves, which was the way it was intended to do. And keep in mind, when they want to take away your guns, the Second Amendment was put in there not to protect you from your neighbor. It was put in there to protect you from a tyrannical government. I'll say it again. It was put in there to protect you from a tyrannical government. Folks, we're outgunned. Now, in order for them to achieve their objective, they're going to have to get things so bad in this country where people are out in the streets revolting. Then they're going to come in there and say, we need to restore order. So they'll suspend the Constitution, declare martial law, and it's over. And to you people in the military, National Guard, and law enforcement, understand one thing. They cannot achieve their objective without you. When they give the orders out there to fire on the American citizens that are going to be out in the streets revolting, if that comes to that, understand something. These could be your own relatives. If you live in California, for instance, and they call out the National Guard nationally to restore order in the streets, and they send you to Pennsylvania to restore order, if you're firing at anybody in Pennsylvania, they may be your cousins. We're all American citizens. They cannot achieve their objective without the help of the military, the National Guard, and the law enforcement community. So if you're getting orders, inappropriate orders, you do not have to follow those orders. And they cannot achieve the objective and destroy this country and destroy our system of government without your help. They could call everybody out there, but if nobody comes, yeah, they even made a movie years ago, What If You Had a War and Nobody Came? They can't do it without you, folks. And the leadership in the intelligence agencies, the FBI, CIA, Department of State, Department of Justice, the leadership is all on board with this stuff. The middle level people ain't. So you people in the mid-level need to blow the whistle. We need more whistleblowers. We need thousands and thousands of whistleblowers out there. Now you're protected by the whistleblower status. If you come forward and say what's going on. Folks, understand something. We're all Americans, except for the people that are at the top. They're not. These people are being run by globalists, global movement, and most of it's China. China's putting big money into this stuff. They need the United States to go away so they can be in charge. They're destroying the military right now. They're underfunding the military. They're putting all this woke stuff. They got transvestites going into schools, holding sex shows in front of children. Not sex shows, but dressed in these scantily outfits and dancing around like a bunch of freaks that they are in front of these children. Your children, my children, at the school. And if the parents go to the school board and object, get this, the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, the guy they wanted to be on the Supreme Court at one time, a real piece of shit, has ordered the FBI to investigate parents at school board meetings as domestic terrorists. You go to protect your children and understand that the Department of Education has been making all these woke things and letting boys use girls' bathrooms and letting them choose their gender in second grade if they want to be a boy or a girl. All the stuff and all these sex books that they're having in the libraries in elementary schools. You go there and you complain about it at school board meetings, and you are investigated by the FBI because Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who was appointed by Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's on board with this also. Hitler said, if you control the children, you control the next generation. Understand, folks, make America great again. Fight back. Fight back. Right now, this election is how you fight back. If you go into your voting booth and you vote Democrat, you're voting to bring down the Republic. Don't vote Democrat. You're voting to bring down the Republic if you do that. You know, this is not about Donald Trump anymore. They want you to believe it is. Everything's Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. This is about America, and Donald Trump knows that. Donald Trump is a great, great president, and he's a real patriot. No matter what they tell you. And if you don't hear this kind of stuff on the news, then you're listening to the wrong news channels. These news channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, and especially MSNBC, which I call mostly socialist news by communists. I think that's what MSNBC stands for. These people here, they brainwash you, and they want you to be underinformed about what's going on. Folks, this is very, very serious. If you vote Democrat, you're voting to bring down the Republic. Please watch this. After you watch this video, share this video. Share, share, share. People need to know before this election, the next 7 days, they need to know what's going on. Look, I'm a former Marine. I'm a patriot. And you know what? Make America great again is not a bad thing, Mr. Joe Biden. I don't know who's running the show, but it sure as hell ain't you. And it ain't that nut job you have beneath you, Kamala Harris. See, you have a medical condition. She's just plain outright stupid. So who's running the show, we don't really know. Folks, let's get this right. Let's get this right. We need to take the Senate and we need to take the House. And in 2024, we need to take the presidency to turn this ship around. We need to get Dr. Oz in there in Pennsylvania. You need to get Ted Budd in North Carolina. And in Georgia, you need to get Herschel Walker. That's 3 good Senate seats that we can pick up. If we don't take the House and the Senate, we're screwed. It's over, folks. It's over. You know, a revolution is when you take over the government, it's called a revolution. Well, our revolution, the way the framers, this genius framers intended it, a revolution in this country is without firing a shot. You go into the voting booth, you flip a switch, you fill out a little box maybe, and then that's the revolution. That's how you overturn the government that you have. We have a tyrannical government. Folks, let's get it right. God bless America. God bless you and your family. And just share the video.